My role in forest started because my very first job was as a climate economist at the Guyana Forestry Commission. I started work after I finished my first degree at the University of Guyana in 2002 at the Guyana Forestry Commission. And there I was exposed to many of the aspects of sustainable forest management, forest policy, how do we bring to the fore effective valuation of forest resources. And I was there at the GFC for about 19 years.
Wow.
And during that time, I was fortunate to benefit from a Commonwealth scholarship in 2004, when I was able to hone what my forestry background allowed me to benefit from to environmental economics, which has to do, in a sense, about effectively valuing nature. So now that my work is on climate finance, I'm able to bring everything I would have learned from 2002 all the way up to my last days at the Guyana Forestry Commission. Now I'm with the Ministry of Natural Resources, to bring that together in the climate debate and to be able to bring forest valuation from the environmental side and climate finance all in the same landscape of coming up with a solution.
Did you always want to get involved in forests and finance?
Not initially. One thought that they were quite separate matters, that you're a forest economist, you look at aspects with regards to timber, to maybe environmental services associated with forestry resources principally. But as time went on, especially when the debates and the discussions at the level of the UNFCCC started to gain momentum, and certainly at the time of the Paris Agreement, a lot of these topical issues converge. And the solution now is not single-pronged, but is multifaceted. And to my mind, it's that multifaceted nature that has really interested me to a point where I want to become more involved now in finding ways where the convergence of those areas could make sense for countries like Guyana and in the area of climate finance.
Our big strategy is the low carbon development strategy. What was your role in the creation of that strategy?
The first low carbon development strategy started in 2008. As many folks know, it was through the vision of the then President, Dr. Jagdeo, who thought at the time, and he was proven to be very much on target and exactly right, that there is a way to monetize what wasn't monetized before. And for that value to go towards transforming low carbon development at the community and national level. In the past, there was only value for when trees are cut down. So his vision was there must be a way to change this whole thinking, this perspective. And from the economic side, is correcting a market failure. The market wasn't valuing something that had value. So back in 2008, I was already a GFC. I started a GFC, as I mentioned, in 2002. So my role was more from the forestry standpoint in helping to support the low carbon development strategy implementation. So I inputted a lot in developing Guyana's national monitoring, reporting, and verification system. I supported work on community forestry development at my time at GFC, during my time at GFC, and I also worked in supporting forest governance programs. In the second LCDS, which was launched in 2021 November by His Excellency, our President, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, my role was more primary. So I helped in the drafting of several of the chapters of the LCDS, LCDS 2030. And now, my role, now that that is completed and we've drafted it, my role is now to support the implementation of that strategy, central to which is the execution of the National Carbon Credits Program.
Tell us more about the Carbon Credits Program, what Guyana is doing, but also what you're helping to do to push that forward.
Under the Guyana-Norway Agreement, the basis of climate finance was true earnings in a bilateral agreement. So Guyana and Norway agreed to certain fundamentals, maintaining forest cover, ensuring that forest governance systems are supported, building an MRV system, those kinds of programmatic interventions. And for that, we were paid $220 million that went towards low carbon programs. In this second phase of the LCDS, we have now moved from our first phase, which is a payment for performance mechanism, which was that which prevailed under the bilateral, now to a market-based mechanism, which is the heart of our second LCDS. So what does a market-based mechanism really mean? It means that instead of having one buyer and one seller participating in this transaction of selling and buying this value that we've created from forest carbon, it is an environment whereby there are multiple buyers and multiple sellers participating in this space.
Yeah.
Under the UN umbrella, it's called the voluntary carbon market.
Yeah.
So that is where we're centrally positioned now and making our way to the third phase of our journey, which will be the compliance market.
Yeah.
And the definition of that really means that it's no longer voluntary once we go into that space, but that will be a regulated market. Over the course of the last maybe 24 months, we've been able to bring to life the National Carbon Credits Program by having our credits, our forest carbon credits, certified as the first jurisdictional scale carbon credits program under the architecture for REDD+ transaction. And their standard is the REDD+ Environmental Excellence Standard, ART3s. We have been issued 33.4 million credits in November of last year, and we've entered into a landmark commercial contract for the sale of a third of all of our credits to about 2.5 million credits every year from 2016 to 2030. And that meant that over the course of that period, Guyana would earn $750 million at a minimum, of which we've already received in 2023, 150 million. And those programs are already being implemented using those resources.
That's really impressive stuff. Let me ask, many years ago when you were at the Guyana Forestry Commission, did you sort of imagine both you and Guyana would be here today?
Not at all. So my vision of GFC and what we've been doing in forestry was to expand the way in which forests would be recognized. But no one thought at the time, certainly not me, that we would be able to open an entirely new spectrum of value, of resources, of natural capital recognition that we were able to do now. And I think if it weren't for the bold action and the wisdom and the push from the political level, steered by Dr. Jagdeo at that time when he was president, and now continued by Dr. Ali, I don't think we at the technical level would have been able to deliver on what we've been able to deliver. But certainly not. I think our ambition was to see forests be central to the conversation, but never in this way that we're seeing now, where there is this convergence of not only recognition, but valuation and impact that really has, to my mind, a phenomenal impact on sustainable livelihoods and on meeting the climate ambitions when one look at the UNFCCC umbrella of targets and work that is being set out.